Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with the Indiana Firearms Coalition with a great update for IFC members all across the state. Our bill to pass the Second Amendment Preservation Act, it's been filed, it's been numbered, referred to committee, and now it's time for you guys to get involved and contact the chair and vice chair of the committee and tell them to have a hearing and move HB 1657 through the committee. If you're pressed for time, whatever else you do, hit the link below and make your voice heard to the members of this committee. So SAPA was filed by Representative Larissa Sweet. She's on her second term here in the Indiana House. I got a photograph somewhere, if I can scroll down to the right section. Here is Larissa and myself a couple of days ago. Lead sponsor on this, a very passionate defender of the right to keep and bear arms. And what HB 1657 would do is protect gun owners in Indiana the next time a radical commie is in the White House and tries to use our own cops against us to enforce federal gun control laws. We all know what a big problem this was under the Biden White House. Joe Biden couldn't pass much in the way of gun control in Congress, but he would sign executive orders as fast as he could and expect our cops to enforce a pistol brace ban, for example, against gun owners in our state. This bill is designed to prevent that from happening. It does that by instructing Indiana cops to only enforce Indiana law when it comes to firearms, ammunition, and accessories. After all, Indiana cops work for Hoosiers, and Indiana lawmakers pass laws to protect the Second Amendment in Indiana. And the Indiana Constitution protects gun rights in Indiana. It's all about what's good for our state. And what's not good for our state is to have a federal government order our cops to enforce federal gun laws that are not compliant with or in parallel with our gun laws passed here in Indianapolis. That's what SAPA would do. Again, it does that by simply telling Indiana cops to enforce Indiana gun laws in our state. It also, number two, prevents liberal department heads from circumventing SAPA by loaning out their officers to a joint federal task force. This is a very common occurrence that you might not be aware of. What happens is ATF or FBI will convene a joint federal task force, and they'll grab some deputies here and some troopers over here and some city cops over here. And all of a sudden, 2 or 3 feds control a dozen or even 2 dozen local cops. But because during that task force, they're being paid for by federal dollars, they're then immune from SAPA law. So in other states, has been a real problem. We have buttoned that up with this, and we've made it very clear that Hoosier cops cannot assist in a joint federal task force if the purpose is to enforce federal gun control laws. Number 3, this bill introduces civil penalties into the conversation. We know almost to a certainty, we all do, that the Indianapolis Police Department is not going to follow this. We know how liberal they are. We know how liberal the city of Indianapolis is. They've already passed an ordinance that would take effect if they can repeal preemption law to make it a crime to have AR-15s, for example, in the city of Indianapolis. So we have to have penalties in here to make sure that liberal department heads are forced to follow the law. That's what we have done in this bill with civil penalties. And so what that means is if you're a gun owner, let's say in the city of Indy, and the Indiana and the Indy PD chief tells their officers to violate SAPA law and enforce some future Democrat president's ban on, let's say, 30-round magazines. If they come to your home and grab your bags, you could sue that agency and the mayor's office, the subdivision, in civil court for penalties. Want to be clear on this? We're not suing individual cops with this bill. That's not the problem. The problem is the department heads and the mayors and other people in politics who order cops to violate the law. We're going to shut that down and shut it down hard with civil penalties. Number 4, SAPA law protects frontline cops right here in our state who do not want to be in a position of having to enforce federal gun control laws or lose their job. We hear from cops all the time, or we sure did under the Biden time in the White House, who did not want to be stuck enforcing Joe Biden's gun control. This protects them by giving them the ability to tell their department head, I'm sorry, I can't enforce this federal gun control law. It's a violation of Indiana's Second Amendment Preservation Act. As you can see, this is a badly needed bill here in Indianapolis. And right now, with Trump in the White House, now is the best time to get this done. Some would say it doesn't matter now. We don't have Joe Biden. What's the problem? That's kind of the whole point. When other states passed SAPA under the Biden time in the White House, they were sued by a hostile DOJ and had their laws struck down. With Trump in the White House, we have no reason to expect we're going to have to be involved in litigation. That means we could pass it and get it on the books and have it there in place the next time a Democrat gets into the White House. SAPA is a hot topic right now in lots of red states. It passed the Wyoming Senate last week. It passed a committee in Missouri last week. It's moving right now in Iowa. It's on the move right now in Georgia. It is our time right now here in Indy to make this a priority as well. Help us get that done. Contact the members of the committee, especially chairwoman, Wendy McNamara, and the vice chair, Jennifer Meltzer, and urge them to move HB 1657 through the courts and criminal code committee as quickly as they possibly can. You might be asking yourself, didn't Missouri pass this and didn't the courts strike down Missouri's SAPA law? Isn't this unconstitutional? Well, the answer is yes and no. Missouri did pass SAPA. The courts did strike down Missouri's SAPA law, but it's very important to note what the court actually did. The court had no problem with the state of Missouri, nor would they care about Indiana, from telling the feds, we're not going to help you enforce federal gun control. The court, in the Missouri case, also had no problem with civil penalties in the law. The court had a problem with the introductory language that was contained in Missouri's SAPA law. What we have done here now with this bill with Larissa Sweet is we have removed the introductory language, which frankly was unnecessary and overly cumbersome. We've removed that. We've kept all the parts that matter. It is good to go. And now is our time to get this done. So guys, again, hit the link below and tell your rep to support and vote for the Second Amendment Preservation Act. And also contact Wendy McNamara and Jennifer Meltzer, the chair and vice chair's committee, and tell them to move this bill as fast as they can. It's a 9-4 Republican-controlled committee, not exactly that tight of a committee. So it's time to get this done. Take action, make your voice heard, hit the link below, and we'll keep you informed. Take care. Hey guys, IFC is fighting hard to expand Second Amendment freedom to ensure our children's children have a right to keep and bear arms. Get involved in this fight today. First, follow us on Twitter. Second, sign up for text alerts from us. And number 3, like and subscribe for more content.